Okay, so suppose you want to do something like this. You have let's say bunch of numbers, okay, and you want to do this operation that if a number is, let's say, divisible by 3, okay, or um, or it is greater than 50, okay, something like that. Okay, if a number is divisible by 3 or greater than 50, then you want to add those numbers, okay, and otherwise you want to subtract those numbers, okay. So like for example, if you have uh, 20, 21, 70, okay, so as I've just told you, you want to add the numbers which are either divisible by 3 or greater than 50, okay, so either divisible by 3 or greater than 50, and you want to subtract those numbers which doesn't satisfy this criterion, okay. So like for example, 20 is neither divisible by 3 nor it is greater than 50, so you want to subtract this, so you will get something like minus 20, and 21 because it is divisible by 3, so we are going to add it, okay, and 70 because it is greater than 50, so we are going to add it. So we want to do that for let's say a vector of size 100, let's say 1 is to 100, okay, I want to do that, okay. So how can I accomplish this, this particular task, okay. So add the numbers that are either divisible by 3 or greater than 50 and subtract the rest, okay. Okay, so obviously for smaller ones I can do it like this, but I want to write a code which will work for any vector, okay. So basically you can first uh, see how to check whether a particular number is divisible by 3 or not, okay. So if so basically there is a way to find the remainder, okay. So when you perform a division, there is a way to find a remainder in R, okay. So like for example, if you divide 21 by 3, the remainder is 0, okay. So so how to check that? So you can just divide by 3, okay. Well, uh, this is again one of the operations, okay, that you can perform, and this is going to return you the remainder, okay. So let's just check, okay. So you can see that the remainder is 0, okay, and if you divide 20 by 3, the remainder should be 2, okay. And let's just check, and this is exactly what we are getting. So if you want to check whether a particular number is divisible by 3 or not, we just want to check if this is equal to 0 or not, right? So how to check if two terms are equal or not, okay. So obviously you don't want to, I mean, you cannot use this because this is used for assignment, okay. So there is a symbol, I mean, there is a way that you can check that in R, okay. So you can just put equal to 0, okay. So if you put equal to 0, it will check whether this is equal to 0 or not, okay, and it will return a boolean which is true or false, okay. Like for example, because 20 divided by 3 gives you the remainder 2, and since 2 is not equal to 0, you get false, okay. So this is what you're going to do, okay. This is what's going to help us. And if you want to check something is not equal to 0, then you can put this symbol, and then if you run this, you will see that it's true, because when you divide 20 by 3, the remainder is 2, which is not equal to 0, therefore it is true, okay. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, so we are going to use something like this, okay. And uh, so let's just try on this particular vector first, and then we can just replace this by any bigger vector, and we'll we'll get what we want. Okay, so let's call this X. Okay, so I'm going to create a vector which is like this. Okay, C minus 20, 21, 70. Okay, so basically it will give me a result like this. Okay, so why do I want this result? Well, it's just going to be useful because then I can just apply sum on it to get the result. Okay, so can you see this? Okay, so if I can create a vector like Y from this, I'll get I can just use Y and use the sum function, okay, to get what I wanted. Is that clear? Okay. Okay. Okay, so how can I do this with writing the code? Okay, so what I can do is I can first create a vector size 3. Okay, I can first create a vector of size 3. Okay, and that has zeros in it. Okay, that has zeros in it, and then I'm going to overwrite that vector. Okay, and I'm going to overwrite with at every step I'm going to overwrite this particular vector by either negative of this or positive of this, depending on whether that condition is satisfied or not. Is that fine? Okay, so let me first create a vector of zeros. So how do I create a vector of zeros? Okay, so you can do it in this way. Repeat 0. Again, this is an inbuilt function. Okay, of size equal to x, equal to length of x. Okay, so let me just run this. Okay, and let me show you what Y has. Y will be a vector of exactly the same size as x. Okay, with zeros in it. Okay, let's just run this. Okay, you can see that. Okay, is that okay? Now I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to go over it one by one. Okay, I'm going to just first check this element, then check this element, then check this element, and then I'm going to multiply this by 1 if it satisfies my condition, and multiply this by -1 if it doesn't satisfy my condition. Okay, so if it satisfies the condition, then I'm going to multiply by 1, replace this by whatever the product is. Okay, and so on and so forth. Is that okay? So let's just do this for the first element first. Okay, so how do I do that? Okay, let me just do that manually first, and then I'll tell you how you can just use that to do it for the entire vector. Okay, so what is the first element? How do I access the first element of y? Y1, right? And I want to replace it with what? I want to replace it with 20 if 20 satisfies that condition. Okay, and if it doesn't, then I want to then I want to I would like to multiply it by -1. Okay, so so how do you do that? Basically, you do that by writing a conditional execution statement, right? So if x1, okay, so what do I need to do? If x1 is divisible by 3, if x1 is divisible by 3, that means if you divide x1 by 3, the remainder is 0. Okay, or so I want, if it is either divisible by 3 or greater than 50. Okay, or x1 is greater than 50. Okay, then I want to do something. Okay, what do I want to do in that case? What should be y1? Y1 should be x1, right? Because I want to leave it exactly as x1 provided this happens. Okay, else I want to replace it with what? Minus x1. Okay, and let's just check. Let's now print y1. Okay, let's see what are we going to get. So what are you expecting will happen if I run this? What will be y1? minus 20. Very good. Okay, so let's just run this. Okay, let's just see what are we going to get. Let's run this. And absolutely. Okay, and now you can see that you have actually replaced the value that is sitting in the first position by minus 20 by running this code. Now you can run this code for uh, 2 and then 3, and then you'll end up overriding this. But you don't want to do this manually. Okay, you don't want to just keep changing values here, and so basically you can write a loop. Okay, you can write a for loop to do this. Okay, so how do you write a loop? Okay, so it's in exactly the same way you do it. Okay, so but what you can do is this for I. Okay, just a minute. Okay, for I in 1 is to length of x. Okay, so basically you have, so this is what this is, right? This is like 1 2 3. So I'm going to just take this I, just it's just going to iterate over 1 to length of x. So one by one, I will take value 1 first, and then 2 for then 3. Okay, so this is the thing that will happen when you're going to just type this. Okay, and then I'm going to use the same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to just copy paste this. Okay, which I just did, and put that here. Okay, so I just checked it. It worked for 1, so it will also work for any I, right? Okay, so now I'm going to replace this by I. Okay, now do I want to print yi in every step? Do I want that? Well, if I want that, I can place it here. Otherwise, we can just print y straight away. Okay, so let's just first run this. Okay, let's just run this and let's see what's going to happen. Okay. Okay, so it doesn't do any printing. Okay, let me just see if I can use print statement to print it in every step. Yeah, now it prints the value of yi in every step. You can see that y1 becomes minus 20, y2 becomes 21. Okay, and then y3 becomes 70, and that's exactly what we were expecting. So now what we can do is I can ignore this and straight away print y. Okay, and you can see that y is now minus 20 20 70, which is what I wanted. Okay, and now I can just sum the elements of y and I'll get this result. Okay, which is exactly the sum that I was interested in. Okay, is that clear? So now you've created a code which works for any x. Okay, it's not just for this x, it will work for any x no matter how big it is. Okay, so you can try this. Okay, let's just create 1 is to well, how many? 1,000. Okay, and let's run this. Okay, so the sum is 4,98,766. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is I mean, of course this is going to work. So if you have some doubts, you can always do some small number check, okay, for which you already know the answer, and then rerun this. Okay, and once you are sure, and then you can just um, put any input. It's just going to work. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Okay, so this is for loop. Okay, this is for loop. Okay, So basically, it's just to avoid repetition. Okay, you don't want to repeat the same thing over and over again. If you just use this loop, it will help, because you just have to write this once, and then just you'll be able to access the index, the element at that index using this, and then you just have to run this over and over again from 1 to length of x, and then you'll get this. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can also accomplish the same thing in R without the loop. Okay. Actually, I mean, that's one of the benefits of R, that a lot of things can be done without using the loops. Okay. So can you tell me how can I create this vector y from x without using the loop? Anybody? Okay. Let's try this. Okay. Let's take this whole thing, remove this index. Notice that this will create vectors of true and false. Okay, because if you just type this, for example, okay, sorry, yeah, just okay, if you type this x percent 3 equal to 0, you'll get false, true, true. Okay, because this is divisible by 3 and this is divisible by 3. Is that okay? Okay, and if you put x greater than 50, you're going to get false, false, true. And then if you're going to put or in between, then it's just going to do the element wise or operation on the two vectors of booleans. Okay, so if you just type this, you will get false, true, true. Okay, and that's exactly what I want. Okay, now once I have this, then I can multiply this by x, right? Okay, because then what it's going to do is it's just going to replace this by 0, and it's going to replace this by 1. So basically you are going to get 0 here and 3 and 90 here. Okay, if you just do this 0, 3 and 90, you are going to get 0, 3 and 90. Okay, that is what you want, right? Yes. Okay, now what you can do is you want this term to be negative of the first term. Okay, so how do you get that? Well, you can just so basically what you can do is you can create a vector which is true, false, false, and multiply it by -1. Okay, so how can you create a vector which is true, false, false? Well, just subtract this from 1. Okay, because 1 minus 0 will become 1, and then 1 true minus true is 0, and so on and so forth. Okay, so 1 minus well, let's just check quickly. 1 minus this term should be what I want. Okay, let's run this. Okay, you can see you're getting 100. Is that okay? 100. Okay, now once you have this, then you can put it here. Okay, and multiply it by -x. Okay, and let's run this. Okay, and that's exactly what we wanted, right? We wanted a minus sign in front of 2 and plus sign in front of 3 and 90, and then you can just add them up. Okay, so this is how you can create a y, and then you can just replace this x by this one. Okay, and then just quickly check that you'll get the same answer. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, let me first run this block and see what is the answer, and then I'm going to compare it with this answer. Okay, and now let me run this block. Okay. Well, obviously they should match. Okay.